Auzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Shami bin Bari and I am from Group 21, UNGS 101. Alright, so to start off with our presentation today, inshallah I'll be giving you a brief introduction to what we're going to be discussing about and the contextualizations on what we're going to understand throughout today's presentation. Alright, so today we're going to discuss about the comparisons between secular materialism and religious spiritualism. Between these two concepts, it stands on its own. It does not put in concept between what secularism and materialism are, but rather than that, combine them into the ideas of secular materialism and religious spiritualism respectively. The question that we have today is that how do we achieve peace and prosperity in a country with multiple religions despite of our indifferences? The concept today that we bring to you in this comparison is to understand further on how we cope in these problems. So before we begin, let's understand inside what does secular materialism mean. Alright, to understand further, we have to understand what does secular materialism mean. So it is a combination of two different concepts, secularism and materialism. While secularism means separating or segregating between the world, the physical world, and also religion, materialism is actually emphasizing on the physical world, for example, the atomic worldview, rather than having looking at the metaphysical concepts or even the theological concepts that actually circulate around us. So basically, what is secular materialism? It is by point separating the material items of the physical world from religion itself, putting aside the concepts of which it is bound to, for example, theological understandings in religion or even other religious groups. So we do understand that secular materialism isn't just a concept that furthers on respectively secularism and materialism, but rather a combination of those two. Alright, and we come to the concept of religious spiritualism. Well, it might seem and sound the same, it is truly not. Being religious means that you are in particular trying to achieve transcendence by means of a religious group. Let's say, for example, Abrahamic religions such as Islam, Christianity, or even Judaism. But being spiritual means that you're trying to achieve that without being attached to a specific religious group. For example, believing in spirits, believe in auras and such and so. And these two concepts, when they combine together to become religious spiritualism, is the concept actually enhancing being religious through the concept of understanding further into the depths of transcending towards more than what we can see through our physical eyes. So when we compare these two things, what we want to see today is how do we actually make them in contrast, the common grounds that they both stand on, and why the comparison actually is a very big difference, especially in our community today. In Malaysia, we do see multiple race, religion, and even ideologies that we all are in contrast. However, these differences don't really signify how well bonded we are. And to question whether secular materialism and religious spiritualism is at hand, it is to find out how to actually cater and find a better mechanism in making our country peaceful and prosperous. Inshallah, let's find out.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Farid Mizari. I'm from IUM Kuantan, and today I'm gonna conduct an interview, a random interview towards random people around here. And we will do a brief interview regarding the secular materialism and also religious spiritualism. Also, we want to ask about their opinion, their experience regarding this matter today. So I think that's a brief introduction from me, and let's get into it. Hello, do you have a minute? So should we have a seat? Oh. Okay, before we start, you can take your time. Okay, hello, Assalamualaikum. Before we move further into our interview, I would like to introduce myself first. My name is Materialism. I will be your interview for today. And before we proceed deeper into the question, may you introduce yourself first?
Well, Assalamualaikum. Well, my name is Zarif. I'm 16 years old, still in the secondary school of Alam Jahir. And that's all about me, I guess. Yes.
And may I know what is quite sensitive to I ask you, but may I ask what your religion for 2016 now?
First of all, if this question is about religious, I'm not quite sure about that. But my identification card, I'm a Buddhist.
You're a Buddhist. Oh.
Yes, but I'm not very religious.
It's okay. We will be conducting a brief question, and it's a simple question, and you just need to answer it in your knowledge area. So don't worry about that. So can we move to the question?
Sure.
Okay. I want to ask first the first question. What do you understand about secular materialism in your knowledge of area?
Well, I have read about it, but my teachers doesn't. But to my understanding, secular materialism is more like I'm just saying about my area of expertise. Maybe it's about focusing on sciences understanding, I guess, and not believing in any religious activities. Maybe I'm more to secular materialism again, because I'm not preferring having religious things.
Yeah, everyone has their own preference, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's quite a good explanation from you. It's quite good understanding, even though that you're quite young, you're 16, but you have the base of the understanding of this materialism stuff. So I think it's a good explanation. And to move on to the next question. So what do you understand about religious spiritualism?
Yeah, about religious spiritualism, what I understand, like secular materialism is the quite opposite of religious spiritualism. To my understanding, we believe in spiritual beings, like maybe not even beings, things like heaven, devil, the prophets, the things like unrealistic to our scope of understanding in our world. Yeah, that's what I understand.
Oh, that's quite interesting idea from you, and I think that can be taken into account of it because this is quite a heavy topic, but you understand it well, and it's good. It's congrats to you. And without further ado, I want to ask for the third question. How do you find the diverse religion in your community?
Well, I'm not sure about diversity, because even in my home, there's not a lot of people with various of religion. There's maybe only Buddhists and Christians. So to that kind of question, I don't think I can answer.
So in your area there is Buddhist, Christian.
Yes.
Is there has any like Islam or any other religion that other than this?
I'm not sure about Muslims. Even my parents myself doesn't interact much with Muslims. But no offense. But yeah,
That's
some
okay.
parents.
It's okay. Everyone has their own character. Maybe lots of us has different characteristics, and maybe in the future they will interact more, right? And to the last question, we have come to the last question, which is how do you respond to the multiple religions background of your community? Like we have lots of religion in our community, like you said, Buddhist, Christian, and how do you respond to them? How do you interact with them? usually in your community, so we can know lots about how the social interaction between you. Can you explain further?
Alright, like I said, I'm not very diverse about all the religion. So even my teachers, who is also non-Muslim, doesn't. My school myself doesn't focus on this kind of perspective, and my parents also doesn't talk about this kind of thing because they don't so very much particular about religion.
But they still interact with the neighbors.
Yes, they do. But my neighbors are mostly not or any strong in religion teachings.
Like occasional gathering, like religious gathering, do you go to that particular event?
They also don't receive
Oh.
They much more believe in more to worldly teachings as well.
Understand. I think that's a quite good explanation from you, and alhamdulillah, I think it's good input for us to put in our research and our work. And I think thank you, Brother David. I think that's quite interesting explanation and experience from you. And I think that's the end for us. And until we meet again, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, brother.
Oh, yes.
My name is Ma'afar Ibn Zari.
Okay.
May I take your time to do a brief interview regarding my project? Can you help me with it?
Well, sure. No
Okay.
problem.
Let's follow me for the interview.
Oh,
Let's
okay.
go. Yes, sir.
Oh, is it here?
Yes, sir. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Before we go further into our interview, my name is Muhammad Farid bin Zalwi. I'm a
Alright.
representative from International Islamic University Malaysia, Kuantan. And today I would like to ask a few questions. So don't be pressured about it because I want to ask about in your area of knowledge, so you can give your opinion freely about it. So before we go further into that, can you introduce yourself first?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Zaid Shakir bin Abdul Wahid. I'm from Sekolah Tempat Rahman, which is in Ipoh. And is there anything you want to know about me?
May I know your religion?
Oh, okay. Okay. My religion is Muslims. My parents are Muslim. I come from a Muslim family.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay, so today I think when I point out about religion, your religion, because I know it's quite sensitive, but I want to ask more about it, the things that related to it. So may I?
Yes, sure.
Okay, so Brother Shabir, is it?
Yes.
Can I call you Brother Shabir?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Move on the first question without delaying your time. I want to ask about what do you understand about secular materialism, sir?
Secular materialism, is it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, based on my understanding, also all the teachings that I have, my school and also my parents have teach me. What do I understand is secular materialism is what we focus on a physical object, like anything phenomenological, like the Big Bang theory, like our existence, which reject the concept of spiritual beings. That's what do I understand, which secular materialism focuses on more to sciences, theories, which very putting aside anything that our religion, like Muslims, Buddhists, Christians, that taught us.
I'm impressed with your knowledge. It's quite a good, and I think it's an excellent explanation about it. And I think it's good for us to know about it, right?
Yeah.
And without delaying your time again, I want to answer the second question. Is what do you understand about religious spiritualism?
About religious spirituality.
Yes.
What do I understand is the direct opposite of the secular materialism. Religious spiritualism is what my own my own religion taught me, which we have spiritual beings, spiritual stuffs like heaven, hell, demon, devils, and the thing that we need to pinpoint of all is our Creator, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Yeah, it's the direct opposite, which religious may include in our life as something that we take it as a matter. Yeah.
I'm impressed with your knowledge. And regarding the first question and the second question, I think your knowledge is
No problem.
It's excellent.
No problem. I'm still just listening.
So, Barishabil, I want to ask the next question. Barishabil, can you explain on how do you find the diverse religion in our community in Malaysia itself, around you? Can you explain further about that?
Yeah, I do interested in that kind of question because I myself have joined a lot of programs. We have an interfaith activity. In a program which we have some Indians with the religion of Buddhism, Christians. We group up together just have a discussion about our own faith regarding the world. Yeah. So to me, our country is a multiracial country, and also not multiracial. We have some multi-religions, even not the most common one. They have their own religion. To me, we have the same kind of opinion, which we have a greater being that creates us all. But the one that separates all of us is how we believe and relate to it in our daily life, like sciences, like the creation of the world, like Muslim itself, me myself, have studied that our world has been created by Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, by the creation of Adam first, and so on. It's a lot to see.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
there's a lot of things.
Yeah.
I find you a knowledgeable person.
Oh no, brother, no, brother, no.
Oh, I think that's our prosperity community that.
Yes, true.
Alhamdulillah. And on the last question, we come to the last question.
Alright, it's okay.
Okay, on the last question, how do you respond to the multiple religious background in our community? Like, how do you interact with them? Your social interaction. On what's your interaction until now? Towards them?
Okay, yeah. About the social stuff, we Muslims, have focused on or has taught us to be good to other religions, not to bash them, not to have some arguments with them, bad arguments. We have no closure about the argument. To me, if you want to communicate with other religions, we have to talk with a lot of mindfulness, calmness, and also some integrity, so that our country with a lot of religion can interact with one another and have a very harmonical country. Yeah, to me it's like that.
I think lots of things that I have learned, lots of knowledge, new knowledge that I have learned, new experience, interesting experience from you, and that's the mark of our interview. That's the end of our interview. So I think it's quite sad that I need to go now because it's fun to know you and fun to interact with you. And I think and until we meet again, Brother Shabil. So this is the end of us, and I think Assalamualaikum. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Goodbye.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And back again with Muhammad bin Zari. We have done this first interview for the people, the young generation, the people who are older, so we can see the difference between people that have the knowledge in the area of secularism, materialism, spiritualism. Lots of them, most of them have known the basic of the secularism basically when they need to know about the diversity in the religion. So we can see that people in this particular area, they know about the base of the knowledge, but eventually we have like the younger one, the family that didn't interact much with the diversity in the community of the religion itself. So we can see that we need to know, we need to do the approaching, we need to do the approach to the people who didn't do much interaction towards their community in diverse of religion. Because in the end of the day, we need to live together to make out the perfect, not the perfect one country, but it's more to prosperity and peace country that we can live in together. So that's all from me, reporter Muhammad bin Sari. Back to my friends. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. My name is Tengku Hakim bin Tengku Naufal. And today I will be continuing with secular materialism and religious spiritualism. Secular materialism is an ideology where people believe of things as it is. They believe that things that happen on earth with the aspect of every single thing that actually exists on earth, for example, with money, intellectual values, for example, it just exists as it is. Like there are no connection with the spiritual realm, for example. Basically, these people believe that there might be an existence of God. At the same time, they also believe that there is no God, basically, for example. However, on the other hand, religious spiritualism is a belief system where individuals believe that there are divine rules set by God Himself. They think and they actually do believe that if from these divine rules, if you follow them, you will be rewarded. In Islam, for example, if you do good deeds or you follow the rules set by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will be rewarded with pahala, for example. But on the other hand, on the contrary, if you disobey His rules and you commit a sin, for example, you will be given dosa, for example. So at the end of the day, Allah will count, for example, our pahalas and dosa, and that will determine what happens to us in the afterlife. Basically, it will determine if we go to shurga or paradise or neraka or jahannam, for example. So with that being said, we can conclude that religious spiritualism believes that there is a God and rules that we can follow, so that it gives us a better path in life. However, on the other hand, secular materialism believes things as it is, and there are no connection between earthly matters with the spiritual realm. That's basically it. Thank you very much.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. For this part, I will be talking about how does a country achieve peace and prosperity despite living in a multi-religious society. So let's take Malaysia as an example. Malaysia is a multicultural and multi-religious country, and its official religion is Islam. There are several different types of believers in here, such as Buddhism, Christianity, Hinduism, traditional Chinese religions, and the rest is accounted by other religions including animism, Sikhism, Baha'is, and other belief systems. Nevertheless, there are also non-believers among the society which are the self-proclaimed atheists, but they are only small in number. This diversity is a uniqueness that should be celebrated and be the pride of our people. Harmony in this pluralism makes Malaysia a country that is often emulated by the international community, but as a country with people of many races and cultures, our society sometimes faces sensitive issues that can threaten peace and harmony. This issue often touches on the question of differences in understanding about their respective religions, cultures, and races. Therefore, these differences and diversity need to be addressed and managed as best as possible to avoid the occurrence of any unwanted things. Firstly, dialogue reduces prejudice. Among the things that can be done is to provide space for healthy dialogue so that prejudice can be reduced and the spirit of unity and togetherness is nurtured among Malaysians. There needs to be an explanation from a religious perspective on the principle of diversity to society to give a better understanding of the importance of ensuring unity and harmonious life so that it can be passed on to future generations. Secondly, trigger factors. In general, conflict can occur at any time. However, we need to be aware of the existence of certain catalysts, drivers, or factors that may lead to the onset of the conflict. Among the conflict factors that have been studied by scholars include biology, psychology, geography, which includes aspects of borders or land, demographics, ideology, religion, culture, and socio-economic factors. The diversity of religions that exist is identified as one of the factors that can trigger conflict. Among them are differences in religion teachings, the attitude of religious believers to act outside the boundaries of religion and national laws, and misunderstandings between religion or within the same religion. Lastly, different approaches. For that, we need to find a different approach, and it is not difficult to achieve it. Based on the causes of interreligious conflict, it can be seen that it occurs among people who do not understand other religions better. Therefore, seminars and interfaith dialogues should be regularly organized to provide a deeper understanding of various religions to the community, especially the community that is in conflict. In this context, general subjects such as Islamic civilization and Asian civilization courses, as well as ethnic relations courses, can be compulsory courses for students of public and private universities in Malaysia. So, there are many benefits that can be gained by limiting and eradicating religious conflicts in society. As a civilized society, we should not allow religious conflicts to arise or recur, as it will affect the religious community and future generations. Thank you.
All in all, from today's discussion, we've managed to see a very large ideology and widespread understanding of today's discussion. We believe that the differences that make between secular materialism and religious spiritualism is not only an essence that is worth understanding, but is a comprehension of knowledge in bridging two different ideologies and philosophies into understanding the most crucial part of achieving our one sake for a peace and prosperous country. So, what have we understood from today? Firstly, we do see that secular materialism is a segregation between religious and metaphysical matter, knowing that in all matters that we see from today, such as from my previous colleagues have discussed, firstly, in the difference between the rule of God and knowing that whether any disenchantment in their discussions and jurisprudence is not really affected in terms of religious or spiritual affairs. While on the other hand of religious spiritualism, we do see that divine decree and revelations do play a significant role in understanding these two different concepts. And at the end of the day, we see religious spiritualism as an aspect that encompasses a holistic development, a development that includes the divine decree not only in our personal aspects, but also even state and legislative matters. These important matters do place a very high hold in making sure that our country is bridged upon a very strong belief system, not only of one specific belief, but different religions and interfaiths as well. At the end of the day, we do believe that the differences that secular materialism and religious spiritualism poses is completely different, and these two ideologies do not really find a common ground for them to intersect between, especially in decision making. However, we do believe that on two different ideologies, they find at one specific intersection, which is to find the best outcome for the people, the personal lives, and also for the community altogether. Therefore, what we can see from today is a very large understanding of what comprehension between these two different things are. but in making sure that whatever outcome that is best is also for the peace and prosperity of our country. Inshallah, with the betterment of understanding secular materialism and religious spiritualism, we can bridge these two ideologies in finding a better outcome for the people and ensuring that whatever outtakes that we put upon ourselves and also for all other members of community is at the best interest for everyone, inshallah. That's all from my team, Group 21 UNGS 1301. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.